What's happening? It's John from Wrecked. It is Tuesday, May 14th. It's been a couple of months since I last put out a video, and I've gotten a bunch of new stuff that I want to show you. As far as the band, no news. Stay tuned for any developments. But like I said, I have, over the past couple of months, picked up a bunch of new stuff, and I'd like to show it to you. And I try to buy stuff either that's brand new, right? Of artists that I'm either currently fans of or I became a fan of, or giving them a chance, or I buy stuff that's tried and true, and I have a little mix of both here. First record I'd like to show you is Waxahachie, Tiger's Blood. This just came out on Anti Records 2024. Waxahachie is I don't know, Americana folk country type deal. It's Katie Crutchfield. She goes by Waxahachie. That's her right there. She has a bunch of records before this, and I just got into her. I don't know how I missed it, but again, with with these days, with life and always having a full plate, it's tough to find new stuff to listen to. But I heard this on Sirius, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. It's kind of what I'm really grooving on these days, though. This kind of music pairs well with the Casey Musgraves' new record, Deeper Well. It's that kind of sound, Americana, laid back guitars, tasty guitars, female vocals, harmonies. That kind of shit is what I'm into, and she delivers it on this. Again, standouts on here would be the song "Bored," Crowbar I liked, Right Back to It. The whole record's good, though. I mean, again, if I say this all the time, if somebody's out there saying that there's no good new bands, man, I mean, check this one out. This is, like I said, the album of 2024 for me so far. The only drawback I have, when I was gonna order it, they had a deluxe version on her website, which was like $40, and then like $15.99 shipping. So all told, it was like 60. I'm like, fuck that, man. I'm not spending $60 on one record. So I bought the $20 version, and it's kind of cheap. Plays great. The record's fine. Just the jacket's thin, and it's, I don't know. It goes back to the whole thing. If you want something, spend the money for it, and you won't be, disappointed. Not that it's not a big deal, really. I mean, but still, it's kind of cheap. I should have went for the extra couple bucks and bought the deluxe version, which was pressed on heavier vinyl and 45 RPM. So, hey, live and you learn, right? But I'll never learn, I guess. But yeah, Waxahachie, Tiger's Blood. Check it out. Okay, speaking of relatively new artists, here's one. This is the death metal band Fulci, Italian death metal. They do death metal in the vein of early '90s death metal, the way it should be done. No blackened death metal, no metalcore, no grindcore, no thrashcore, whatever the hell they want to send subgenres they come out with. This is death metal. Italian band. I had their previous record to this. Tropical Sun. There's one in between. I kind of fell off the wagon on these guys for a bit. The first one I got from them was Tropical Sun, which is brutal. This one, what's special about this was on the U.S. tour in 2022. They stopped by Morris Sound Studios in Florida to record. These songs aren't new. It's a lot of the stuff that was on their previous records. But Morris Sound Studios, if you really want to check out a cool story, for any death metal nerds out there, or music fans out there, Morris Sound Studios was the mecca of death metal in the late 80s and early 90s. It's like the Electric Ladyland Studios of death metal. Every artist recorded there. And when I say every artist, Deicide, Morbid Angel, Death, Cannibal Corpse, Obituary, to just name the ones that I know, recorded down there. And Scott Burns was the producer on that. So he didn't produce this. Jim Morris actually produced this. But either way, it has a sound, that studio. And it comes through on this record, which is amazing. 30 years later, they still have that more sound. Wild. But again, it's for the death metal people out there. That's what that's where you go if you could afford it, and if the record company would do it for you. I think that's what it was, though. The record company probably had a good deal with them, and just to make all these records. I mean, look online, look at what was recorded there. It's just astonishing, the stuff that came out of there. But this is great. Fulci, Italian death metal in the vein of Cannibal Corpse, the way death metal should be played. Interesting about Fulci, I think now they have a drummer, but I don't think they had a drummer for any of these records. They played live with a drum machine, I know, which is totally against anything I'd be into. But I kind of get it. I mean, one less person is one less person giving you a fucking problem in the band, right? Either way. But that's just it. It's a great record. Check it out. All right. Speaking of bands that had problems with members, Black Crowes, Three Snakes and One Charm. This was in 1996 from American Records. I'm going to say this is a band, the Black Crowes, that I've been a fan of since day one with the Shake Your Moneymaker album. When that album came out, it sounded like Aerosmith, sounded like Rod Stewart, sounded Faces, sounded like the Rolling Stones. It was great boogie blues rock. It was great. I mean, those guys knew how to do it. They came up with great songs and did it. Their second record, Southern Harmony, which I just recently got on vinyl also, they actually just released a box set, which I didn't get yet, but that album is that's the band, man. That's the reason I fell in love with the Black Crowes. The songwriting, the musicianship, the soul of that record. So like I said, I've been a fan of those guys since day one. This is their fourth record, Three Snakes and One Charm, from 1996. Like I said, 93, I think 93, 94. I think 93 was Amorica, their third record, which was good. I didn't love it, but it's hard to follow Southern Harmony, right? When this came out, though, I was so disappointed in it because it was like, I don't know, there was no good hooks on it for me. Nothing. I mean, a lot of songs, just not a lot of things that grabbed me. In these later years, I've grown to really appreciate the record, though, and it's one of my favorite records now, go figure. Standouts on here would be Under a Mountain, Good Friday, Girl from a Pawn Shop, Blackberry, Nebuchadnezzar. But yeah, I mean, when this came out, I was so disappointed with it. And like I said, with this band, this is the last album to feature Mark Ford, the guitar player. Last album to feature Johnny Colt, the bass player. Johnny Colt's actually credited on this as bass, but he doesn't play bass. Rich Robinson did all the bass. So when Johnny Colt came to the sessions, they said, "Hey, you don't need to play bass." So I mean, that must have sucked for him. But they're a band that has had personnel problems over the years. They broke up after this record. They broke up, and it has to do with. I mean, it depends on who you believe. I mean, I've read the Steve Gorman book, The Life and Death of the Black Crowes, the drummer, and I tend to agree with him only because he seems level-headed out of all of them. He seems like the most reliable source. And if you read that book and you remember the magazine articles from back in the day of what was going on with those guys, it makes sense. Chris Robinson wanted this band for himself. Him and his brother fought constantly, but they could write a song, these guys, man. Holy shit. But which brings us to today, where they just came out with a record, the Happiness Bastards album. I didn't hear more than one song on it. I'm not interested. For what they did to that band, really, they could have been a huge band, but they want to be, Chris Robinson tried to turn this band to the Grateful Dead, and I don't know, they were never a good live jam band, in my opinion. I mean, I saw them around 96 or 97, I can't remember which. Went with a couple buddies of mine, and Beacon Theater, and the Black Crowes opened up with like a 20-minute blues, and here I am wanting to hear Twice as Hard, Jealous Again, Sting Me, Remedy, anything that resembled a rock and roll song, and they weren't doing it. And I was just like, man, this sucks. And I saw them another time, and they sucked. But I mean, I saw them two other times, they were great, But again, they veered too much off of that rock and roll route that they started with. After this record was, they broke up and then reformed with By Your Side was the next record. And that was more of a traditional record. And the one after that was Lions was pretty good too. But you started mixing and matching members after that. But it's funny, with this band, like I said, they could never agree with anything after, the third album. And it showed in the band, it showed in the songs, it showed in the performances. A little funny little point about the Black Crowes is they recorded an album before Amorica, before their third, that never saw the light of day because the record company said, no way, this is just not any good. So then even after that, they didn't learn the lessons. After this record, they recorded another one that the record company said, no way, man, we're not putting our money behind this. And they had to, come out with By Your Side. So anyways, I mean, that's just it. It's a shame because the Black Crowes could have been like really big, huge. And, as long as, if they got along and just put bullshit aside, either way. All right, next up, this is one of my favorite records, just got re-released, remastered. Grateful Dead, American Beauty on Rhino Records. This was originally from 1970, and again, this is the latest on Rhino. Rhino does a great job with re-releases, I'll tell you that. The version of this, different, I mean, I have this 4 times maybe on vinyl. The harmonies are clear. The bass is kind of a little more subdued, but the bass sound, like not the actual instrument, the bass, the low frequencies, more pronounced, more crisp. You can hear it. The pedal steel, you could hear a little bit. It's just clearer. It's nicer. If you're going to get into the Grateful Dead, but get this record first. It's the most accessible record to get into. There's no real fluff on this. I mean, Boxer Rain, Friend of the Devil, Sugar Magnolia, Operator Candyman on side 1, Ripple, Broke Down Palace, Till the Morning Comes, Addicts of My Life, Truckin'. The only song I really don't like is Till the Morning Comes. But I mean, holy shit, if you're going to get into the Dead, get into them with this record. And then just, just put your toe in the water a bit on them. Avoid the stuff before this, not avoid it, but avoid the live stuff before this. Wasn't all that great. Live Dead in the 60s wasn't too great in my opinion for me. But either way. All right, last but not least, speaking of the Grateful Dead, this is the Grateful Dead Europe 72 double live record. Bought this at Inner Sleeve Records out in Amagansett. Me and the wife went out to Montauk, and on the way back, I always hit that record store up. I picked this up because I'll never not pick up a Europe 72. I have it on box set. I have a deluxe expanded version on box set. But if you talk to anybody who's a fan of the Dead, the 1972 is a great year for them. 78's good as well. 80's good as well. But again, if you want to get into live Grateful Dead, buy this record. They keep the jamming to a minimum on it. Mickey Hart, the second drummer or one of the 2 drummers in this, didn't make this tour for whatever reason. I don't know if his father was sick or what, but he didn't make it. So Bill Kreutzmann did all the drums, which turned out actually to be a good idea because it sounded more like a rock and roll band. See where I'm going with this, though? It must be just my preference. I'm a punk fan, I like simple stuff. I like to the point. And that's why I like the old outlaw country music. It's simple and to the point, not this meandering stuff. Again, there's maybe 1 or 2 jams on here. The rest of it are just killers. He's Gone has One More Saturday Night on here, which I love. I Know You Ride, A Brown Eyed Woman, Hurts Me Too, Ramblin' Rose, Mr. Charlie, Tennessee Jed. I mean, they're all good. But this album, man, it had songs that didn't appear on any studio recordings, which is I always found weird. But there's not as far as I know, there's not a studio version of Brown Eyed Woman, not a studio version of Ramblin' Rose, not a studio version of Tennessee Jed, or He's Gone. I don't think there's any of that. But they're great songs, and they came out live, and that's how I know the songs. So again, I feel like I'm preaching too much on this, but if you've always been hesitant about the Dead Night, understand it. They just were insufferable with a lot of stuff in the 80s. They were just just the political stances they took and the garbage that they put out. It's very easy not to like them. But as far as musicianship, songwriting, you couldn't get better. You're not getting better than Jerry Garcia for a lead guitar player for this kind of music. You're not getting better vocal harmonies when they hit. This is, I think it's overdubbed in the studio, this one. But Donna Gottschalk, she's her and Keith Gottschalk, her husband, were on this. This is, I think, the first tour they were on as well. And they were a great addition to the Grateful Dead. And it adds a different dimension to it. Again, the female vocals is always a good choice, as long as they're not overdone, as long as they're not like, Yoko Ono type of deal. It always adds to the music, and that really does with the Dead. So those are my 5. Like I said, I bought that one down Amagansett down at Inner Sleeve. I bought a couple others there when I went there, but I'll show them in the next video. I'm still trying to not impulse buy stuff, and I avoided that today with something I saw on Instagram. I was about to buy it. I'm like, you know what? I don't need this. But as far as the older stuff, the Black Crowes, I want to get all their stuff on vinyl. I have, like I said, I just have that with the Three Snakes, and I have a bootleg, and I have Southern Harmony. I don't have anything else. I do have a Morika, but I've never opened it. I bought it in 1997. I've never opened it, and it's going to stay sealed. I'll buy another one. But yeah, that's the story. You know, just keep on going. As far as the band goes, just stay tuned for any developments, and hopefully we'll be back out there with some new stuff. So thank you for watching. Have a great one. All right, take care.